Let me ask you this question, Mike. Let's move to this another area. Gamma ray. A gamma ray hit the Earth today. It actually hit yesterday, I guess. It was the largest gamma ray ever to hit the Earth. They renamed it GRB for Gamma Ray Burst 221009A. They think it came from a exploding supernova somewhere, 2.4 billion light years away. And then I read another article that says that this was an extreme wave of energy. And when I saw it, I said, bingo, Mike from around the world, 8 years ago, waves of energy. Is that what happened, Mike?
It was. Well, that's a source from a few. That's a source from a few. And believe me, there's some track coming inbound. Whether it surprised them or not, maybe a university, not your mainline folks who are able to see these things. It didn't surprise them.
I mean, you told us about it 8 years. It was. I went back and checked 2014. 2014, you said, "Oh, Paul, there's 5 waves of energy coming." You know. So yeah, you guys have known this.
Now, this is similar, but I want you to think of it this way. Let's take Beetle guys, right? Yeah. And everybody looks at Beetle guys. Let's say it exploded right now, right? Okay. We wouldn't have to worry about anything. It can explode all day right now. So it will take that thing is 650 light years away. Okay. Right, estimation. Right. Yeah. So that's 650 years. It'd take a long time for it to get to us. Right. Right. That's why they don't really worry about anything over 50,000 50,000 light years away. So, but think of it this way. The Earth has been going through a very, kind of region of space with nothing in it, right? Part of a cloud that part of a rocky cloud that this very, things are here and there, not really dense. As of last year, or the beginning of this year, we started moving into the thick part of the cloud. So already at the heliosphere, there's been some perturbers. There's been some interesting developments. There's been some stuff, which is why they were going to spend any amount of money they could to get James Webb out there. Not so people can get nice pictures of galaxy formations, this, that, and the other, as a side thing. No, this is so they can see this cloud. It's kind of like we want a camera at the head of the car so we know what we're driving into.
It's not so we can get pretty pictures of the galaxy. We got to get our hands on what's coming. We know it's coming, and we got to know what in the world we're dealing with. Is that what you're saying?
They have to know density. They have to know. They need better estimates as far as proximity, right? Because I'm telling you now, we're going to get smacked multiple times, not just one or two, Pastor Paul. I'm talking about thousands of times. We're going to get smacked. There's no way we're going to miss it. It's going to change life on Earth. It will. We're going to get smacked. We're heading into this thing.
So doomsday is approaching. I mean, I'm not joking around when I put that as a title. I mean, doomsday.
No, it's a pretty good title. It's a pretty good title. In fact, I was going to give it a date tonight of January 5th, 2023.
What January 5th of 1/5/23? What is that? What's that date for?
Well, we're in proximity to something that's very threatening to this solar system. And on that date, this stuff is going to enter into the solar system. From there, it's just a few days before it ever gets close to the Earth. And from that point, we're going to have to deal with some things, right? Things are going to change abruptly. I believe that, a lot of people have a good idea of this, right? So war is going to become secondary to some things we're going to face in the very, very near future, which is somewhat disturbing, because if people knew about a greater threat, right, they're not going to care about war. If you already estimate that you're going to lose a billion people, you're not going to worry about the fallout from a war.
No, you're right. War is secondary, and war is really about getting control of the resources, because of how's nations going to survive after the event that's coming.
Yeah, they've been like us. You know what? In the Baltic regions, they have an order for 2 months. They need to have all the underground facilities, all the underground bunkers refurbished. They have to do this within 2 months. Okay, they don't have 3 months; they have 2 months. They need all of this done because we're entering into a window. right? And this window is not going to go away. It's not something we watch for and they say, oh, nothing happened. Then it, goes away. No, they have to have everything ready in 2 months. 2 months.
2 months. Okay, January 5th, 2023, something's going to enter our solar system, maybe. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then after that happens, and we got this James Webb telescope out there looking to see what we're dealing with here. We know something's coming. How bad is it? How thick is it? How many rocks are in it, or whatever? How many waves? Once they see it on the 23rd, they know about how much time we have before it really waxes, right?
They're doing that right now. They're trying to see how thick it is right now as we speak.
Okay.
They are analyzing a lot of data right now. They know 17 dates right now. January 5th, 2023 is just one. It's just one date. They know 17. These aren't going to be dates. It's something, people will find out very quickly. If we haven't already reached some type of red point by that time, right? Because we still have to make it through. Nobody's warning about winter. I don't know why they aren't. But anyway, we still have to make it through the winter. And we live in a time where things are very volatile, right? Keep in mind that the winter people cannot really travel. Given the weather that we've had, we know that the atmosphere has a much larger potential of holding moisture. All this rain is going to equate to snow. And when that snow falls, due to fluctuations in temperatures, we're going to have snow, ice, snow, ice, snow, ice. That makes it very difficult to travel. The roads can't quite take that. And during that time, we're going to have poor visuals on heat plumes from, the U.S. and Europe and all these places. And we know that magma is also on the move. Magma will begin to change geology, period. We're going to see islands raising up. We're going to see more underwater eruptions, sustained eruptions. The sky, the atmosphere, and everything else is about to get real dirty. We're talking about all this is beginning right now. It's not going to happen in the future. It's beginning right now, and so it's a buildup to a pretty big crescendo, right? I'm looking for some large-scale volcanic eruptions. We have not had large-scale volcanic eruptions, and I'm looking for those. I'm very watchful for those. I know they're coming.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to track magma as best I can. They are coming. We have not had one. Mount St. Helens was not a large-scale eruption.
What?
Mexico did not have any large-scale eruptions.
No.
Nowhere on New Zealand was not a large-scale eruption.
Tonga?
We didn't have a large-scale.
What about Tonga?
No, it was not. It was not a large-scale eruption. But we are about to have some large-scale eruptions. The pressure buildup has been too much. We haven't had any release points that were sustained release points. Although we have, hundreds of volcanoes active, spewing out gas and everything else, it's just not enough. Right?
So,
it's just not enough.
So,
not enough.
17 dates, January 5th, 2023, but 17 significant dates they know about. We got the James Webb telescope out there looking as far into the future as possible, see what we're dealing with. Magma's on the move here on the Earth. You have talked about volcanism being extremely increasing. You're surprised it hasn't already done more than what it's done. You're saying that Tonga or Mount St. Helens was not big compared to the events that are coming. And yet Tonga came from bottom of the ocean and put more water in the air than ever that we know of, we can ever record. Right. The sky is going to get dirty. I take it that's dust and particles and
yeah, because they're also getting ready while everybody's looking at war. While everybody's thinking about nuclear war, they have been preparing themselves and retrofitting many things to deal with an ash environment. It's why the government bought up all the farms and built these protective facilities that they can actually grow things in. They have spent hundreds of billions of dollars in technology for soils, right? They're trying to grow things outside of natural sunlight. That's a very big thing. CERN has delegated a lot of their research findings to this cause so they can grow food without natural sunlight. They have replicated natural sunlight.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
They know at some point people are going to be underground, and so they're trying to produce an artificial sun because they want to capture some of the wave emissions from the sun or life sustaining. We can't survive without that. They know that we're going to go through at least 8 months of a cold period before anybody can surface again and really survive. So we are really entering into some very different days. Nobody has ever been here before. Nobody. Our generation will likely, we're walking into that door now. This thing could actually unfold. Things like this could unfold within a 10-month period.
Is this will the world start calling for a world leader because of asteroids coming in, fireballs, volcanism exploding, dusty ash in the air?
I'm sure they will.
I'm sitting here saying I don't think Joe Biden's the guy, okay? I don't think Vladimir Putin's the guy.
They're not going to deal with these. They can't deal with these.
No.
People don't have confidence. They don't have confidence in them right now, right?
No, I mean,
it's a big issue. People don't have confidence in world leaders,
right.
If something happened,
Father Malachi Martin said, the world is going to face insuperable problems. There has to be, and there will be, an individual who can solve some of the impossible problems, and the world will embrace him. Is that scenario setting up?
I'm going to say it is. Think of California, right? We know that if we have large-scale volcanism, the sky is going to be full of ash.
Okay.
Ash causes bad problems within the body. It will kill a lot of animals, most plant life, and everything else. During this time, we're going to have earthquakes. It's impossible that a volcano of that magnitude would go off without large earthquakes, right? Because the tectonic plates, they're going to be shifted. During that time, people are still going to be living. They're still going to be here living, but life will be disrupted. You have certain regions, people have set up power grids in a certain way. They think, for example, in the middle of the USA, they found some issues in the middle of the USA. They have done deep rock scans. In the USA, the entire USA is not as stable as they thought. It is not as stable as they thought. Of all places in the USA, there's a high probability that near Mexico, those places will not be touched. Ironic, isn't it? But the rest of the places in the USA have too many fractures going down pretty deep. In fact, magma is starting to penetrate places where they never thought it would. So as time continues to go on, we're getting a better and better picture of what underneath our feet look like. And it is far different than what anybody ever speculated or thought about, 20 years ago. It's real different. These deep scans revealing some very dangerous things. So in truth, there is no safe place anybody can go to, right? There's none. If a person thinks a place is absolutely foolproof and safe, they are deceiving themselves. I would say this as far as preparations: make sure they know Christ. That's a safe place to be. Amen. Everything else is not safe, because the world is going to get some surprises. And the USA is going to see this with other countries. Write this one down, Pastor Paul.
All right.
Places where people think are safe. They're about to get a demonstration that those places are by no means safe, and that anything has a potential to crumble. Anything.
Well, you want to
anything.
Know? Okay,
any place.
One of the places that people think is safe is the Ozark Mountains. We hear this all
the
the time.
USA, well, no, the Ozarks, no, they're not as safe as, unfortunately, through deep scans. I hate to say this because people have invested a lot of money in being in the Ozarks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A place is not going to keep a person safe. It is not going to keep a person safe.
Yeah, in other words,
we're going to get an example of that.
No,
yes.
There is no physical location. It ain't Colorado Springs. It's not. Okay.
No.
It's Jesus Christ. It's supernatural.
Yes, it is.
You have to get into this.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And I agree with you 1,000%. That's why Jesus told us that these catastrophic events were going to come. But don't let your heart be troubled, he said. Okay?
That's
if you
right.
believe in me,
That's right.
you have to believe in him.
That's right.
You have to abide in the vine. But people are so naturally carnally minded. We're thinking, well, if I own a spot somewhere in the Ozark Mountains or something, or up in Colorado Springs, I'll be okay. The truth is, you're not going to be okay anywhere. You're saying that the whole world is going to face catastrophic. I mean, I read the Bible. It tells me there's 2 deep impacts in Revelation 8 that wipes out 1/3 of the ships in the ocean. I read about a war in Revelation 9. It kills 1/3 of the world. I read about pandemics and catastrophic diseases and things that are going to just be absolutely devastating. Food shortages and famines and lack of water. So why in the world would we think, is it because it's always about, if I'm here, I'm safe, and it's those people out there? We've got this mentality.
You know what I think? I think, Pastor Paul, that a while ago, right? A while ago, before we actually had the ability to see land underneath our feet as a whole, I think that people were really concerned about their families. You know, that's understandable.
Right.
They wanted to go to the safest place possible. I think that the Navy did tell people, you know, this area is going to be covered in water, this area.
Yep.
And so naturally, to protect your children, you know, you're not going to move right there in the ocean. You're going to say, well, let me get my kids to the safest place I can be. And that's why I hate to say it, because people have invested so much of their time, energy, and everything else in these places, only to have new technology reveal that's not the case. You know, it's just not the case. Those are, in fact, fracture points, and Colorado's the least safest place anybody could ever be. So, you know, I hate to say that because a lot of people, they didn't know. You know, the more we know by way of technology, the more we know, the more we're going to reassess the entire issue. It's kind of like those who believed in Revelation 100 years ago, very different than how they believe in it now.
Because
they thought 100 years ago.
Yeah, technology has now caught up with the prophecy. Now, 100 years later, like, whoa, now that we know what we know, that has a whole different meaning.
That's right. We're able to observe, and people are not saying, well, it can't be that, because I don't believe in that. They're not doing that. That's why, you know, in my case with Revelation, I'll know Revelation, but I don't want to interpret Revelation. I'm going to always be wrong. I'm going to just watch it unfold. But at least I'll know what Revelation is, so I can interpret it as it happens, because there are some elements that people don't know about yet. Like, for example, there's you know, a lot of people have heard this. We're not the only ones here, right? But it's not aliens, Pastor Paul.
No.
The last time the flood came, how in the world can a person go underground during a flood and be safe from the water and emerge later on? Even the Bible said there were Nephilim before the flood and also after that. Right. So how could they go underground and do this, though? Indian culture, in a lot of places they say that. Well, guess what? Do you not know that the military-industrial complex went and inspected and investigated every single last one of these cases? They went underneath the earth. A lot of them did not come back. Delta operators are specifically trained for certain security missions for those who do surveys underneath the earth, and some of those don't come back either. There are horror stories about very big people who these things are they're just big people. We're not talking about some creature from Hollywood. No, we're talking about, think of a man, right, that has double bone density, right?
Okay.
A man that's very dense. A hand. Can you imagine a hand that's 4 times as wide as yours?
No!
Right? With the strength to crush a rock. People with double-rowed teeth on the top and the bottom, right? Visible sinus cavities on their faces. Just start thinking about that. And they have elephant-like skin, very thick skin. They stink to high heaven because they don't really have access to water or anything down there. So just think of a big person like that. But just don't think of one. Don't think of one. Don't think of one. Think of millions of people like that underneath the earth.
Do they have red hair?
Red, brown, black.
6 fingers.
Yeah, but they look like us. They look just like us. They have very wide noses, very flat faces. They look
like us, but 4 times,
chins.
Maybe 4 times bigger.
Yeah, you're looking at a person that's probably, I'd say probably maybe 7.5, 8 foot tall normal.
Yeah.
Up to 18 feet tall, right? But here's what I'm saying though. Imagine a person your height that could take a car and shove it in your yard. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. People have enormous strength and stature, just strength all over the place, right? No necks. They don't have any necks. Can you imagine somebody's neck that starts at the earlobe? And think of it that way. They're not covered in hair like this, but they're wearing animal skins and stuff like that. Stuff all draped around them, and they stink to high heaven. This is what I'm talking about, what we're facing. And eventually, mankind is going to have to deal with that. They will most certainly deal with that. So people ought to get ready for that stuff. While everybody else is in this conventional world, they're going to be reacquainted with the spiritual things. How about this? The Navy actually had a run-in 2 weeks ago with something that has 6 flippers again. Right?
6 flippers?
And also, Pastor Paul, do you remember, I think I was on your show. I think it was on your show. We were talking about manatees before anybody ever said anything about manatees. And I was talking about these serpents that the Coast Guard were finding in Florida. And they were keeping that under wraps.
Yeah.
But that they caught these serpents eating the manatees.
Yeah.
And that they would have to come up with some type cover story because the manatees are going to go missing. Right? Then I just kind of let it go. That's exactly what they did. Oh, the manatees are starving. No, they're not. They're being eaten.
Are these some kind of Megatron sharks? Or are they something totally different creature?
These are just some big, oversized, serpent-looking things, right? Think of a regular sea snake. Think of a sea snake,
okay,
right?
Okay.
But think of a sea snake that has the girth of 4 telephone poles.
I mean, you're talking, that's bigger than any anaconda. Okay, you're talking about the Leviathan of the Bible. You're talking about Leviathan.
Well, you have whales out there, right? Whales that weigh, 2,000 tons? So think of a 2,000-ton snake or serpent-like looking thing, right? There you go. The underwater, deep in the oceans, is being shaken up. Deep in the oceans, stuff is being driven up from down in those places. Right? We already know that there are oceans inside the earth, and that water has never touched.
Yes, we do know that.
Water.
The Bible says that God separated
through
water from the waters.
Through earthquakes, right? Through earthquakes, some of the rock that was dividing these places has been interrupted. Pressures have equalized. So guess what? Whatever was in there can come out in our waters. Yeah. As simple as that. Yeah. So you're not looking at alien life forms. Nothing came through a dimension. None of that stuff. You're looking at standard creatures that were just separated for a long time. They just did not, they didn't dwell in our natural oceans in large numbers. But now that's changing. So some of the animals that people think are extinct, this, that, and the other. For example, this year they found 4 more extinct creatures of big size. One's the size of a hippo. It was supposed to be extinct, but we know now it's not extinct, right? It's not. Okay. It has a long neck. It has 2 eyes on the top of the head, right? It looks like it's real white and milky looking with a coating of mucus all on the outside of it. It's pretty, nasty. It has 4 flippers. It looks like a prehistoric creature, but a slimy one. Right? That's what it looks like. But we now know those things exist.
You got any pictures? Brock, do you got any? Can you put some? Brock's. I can hear Brock in the control room going, oh.
No, but they're finding. My point is, through earthquakes, right? Through regions of the earth that nobody could ever get to.
It's breaking it loose. In other words, these earthquakes.
It's being broken down.
And the magma moving is, and the earthquakes and the supervolcano that are becoming awakened is releasing these things.
And shifting. Just like there are lobsters. There are lobsters that are about, I think they're about 5.5 feet long. They hang around these volcanic domes. Can you imagine a 5.5 foot lobster?
I actually did hear that.
They're almost clear. They hang around waters that are 600 degrees, right? They're starting to come away from these places, from these plumes, and they're migrating to other places, just gobbling up everything. But it's not some strange new species. It's just something that we don't normally interact with. So we know
about this stuff. You're telling us about this stuff. We've known about this for a while, that these creatures from the deep, the under the ground creatures, that they're beginning to move and starting to surface, and
that's right.
And they're going to be eating up the manatees. And they're going to be eating up a lot of things apparently, because they're carnivores or some type of.
Same thing on the land. Same thing on the land. We have deep holes in the earth, right? Yeah, people have found them digging mines. Earthquakes break places apart. Wildlife is being driven out of these things that were in cavernous places are coming out. Right? They find feral people all the time, which means a person who did not grow up with society. They grew up with animals, a standard person, right? They find them all the time in every single country. But there are bigger feral people out there. There's some even bigger ones than those, right? And so something is starting to, these things are being reintroduced. They didn't come from space. They've been here. There's even policy. Do you know there are certain policies? And here's what the policy states. If too many of these things come topside, authorization of a nuclear weapon to blow up that place where they do exist or came from is authorized in the USA. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
That's an actual policy. That's an actual procedure, that because nothing can stop them, and they seem impervious to bullets and everything else. And so the only thing, we don't have a weapon right now that could absolutely just tear them apart and kill them, right? Because there have been cases where Sabo has been fired at these things, and it just didn't work out too well, right? Their skin is so thick that explosive rounds will push back. Their skin is very dense. So that must mean they're very old, right? Thickened skin.
Yeah.
And because they're flexible, right, they'll be pushed back. Not like a rock that'll stay in one position and absorb or be exploded by all that pressure. In this case, they'll just be blown back and they get back up and do it again. So they're incredibly resilient. So there are policies against these things. And there are certain areas that, all these wildlife reserves that people see, all these natural grounds that people see that they preserve them. They don't want you going in there doing this, that, and the other. That's for a reason, because they know there are known places these things do exist. They want nothing to do with us. But
they don't.
They want nothing to do with us. But through all the instability in the earth, they're just being driven from their normal places. That's it. That's it. They're just being driven up from wherever they were.
So when I read the Revelation, it tells me Apollyon's going to come out of this pit, and he's got like these wild-looking scorpions and locusts and creatures like we've never heard of it before. We could be actually talking about creatures.
We could, because they are commanded not to touch any green thing,
right?
Not to touch anybody with the seal of God in their forehead,
right?
So they're only, and they don't go out to kill, they torment.
Yeah.
So you're looking at something that's, you're looking at something that's like, that's obedient to God,
yeah,
right? But that has no problem doing what they have to do to humanity, to people that are not marked. And to this day, Pharaoh people, they don't want anything to do with an average person, right? But they do seem to be threatened by aggressive people.
Okay.
Right? They always react or run out of where they are, these aggressive folks. It's kind of like you can pick up how a person is by being in proximity to them.
Yeah.
So animals do the same thing. So wouldn't a feral person have that same perception, that same strength of perception to tell? So it's, there we are.
Mike, this is mind-blowing. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. It's mind-blowing for probably 95% or 99% of the audience, because it's not out of the realm of comprehension, because of so many things in the Bible speaks about these supernatural beings that we've known about before and after the flood. So because we know that, why should we be shocked about these beings still be around, and even others that have never been even revealed? So what you're saying is, we now know about these. It's being discussed within the Pentagon. It's being discussed in the world. And when Elon Musk says, look, why don't we just look for another planet somewhere to live on? It's because some of this stuff is being known. So you're saying we've got big problems. We've got bigger problems than Putin and the oil prices. We've got incoming asteroid, meteorites, dust, ash. We've got pole shifting. We've got volcanism. We got things that's going to be coming out of the earth. We've got big problems, which means you need a big savior, is what I'm hearing you say. Is that why the Lord has been telling me all this time, Paul, let me give you a clue about a few things that are happening now. You better get people to Jesus. You better get people to Jesus. And right now they're blowing us off because they can't see these things, but you're saying these things are going to be revealed. I've heard you reveal things in the past that blew my mind, and then 4 or 5 years later, it happened. So you're blowing our minds again today with these milky, slimy creatures that are crawling out of different parts of the earth and the water and everywhere else. So I'm listening, okay, and I'm thinking
that's going to cause some fear. That's going to cause a lot of fear too.
Yeah. Will it ever get revealed to the? I mean, it has to be revealed, right? We're going to see them.
Yeah, everybody's going to see them. Everybody will know, and in that time, as this happens, it's part of the issue with secrecy. It's not so much that something has come from another world. It's just that people are not going to be able to live their lives with a smile on their face, having knowledge that they're on the earth with something like that, right?
Well, are people going to lose their minds? I mean,
yes, they will. Yes, they will. A lot of people will have heart attacks by just knowing that something like that exists. People will, they'll have heart attacks from being so paranoid. It's happened to soldiers. Surely it's going to happen to the civilian population when this takes place, right?
Yeah.
And past all, we've already, I personally say the threshold has been crossed. It's already been crossed. And so, we're headed in that direction. My advice to everybody is, the call is going out that Christ is coming back. People ought to get themselves ready for real.
Right.
Get themselves ready. And especially this winter, be ready to deal with, just get yourselves ready. Get yourselves ready for this winter, because it could be challenging. But get yourselves ready.
You've been saying that.
I think
you've been saying that for at least 6-8 months. All that this winter could be, if we survive the winter, if we can get through this winter. In other words, there's some things going to take place this winter. You're seeing a change in the climate drastically. Okay, snow, ice. That means power outages. People can't travel. The supply chain disruptions.
That could be people. I tell you what, they'll have some money in their pocket, but they may not have the product. They have to be smart. No one should waste anything right now, but be smart, and that way they can exercise responsibility in getting ready for this winter, because we don't know how bad it can get. We don't know that, and people should be wise during these times. They should be wise, very wise.
Mike, I almost want to say next Thursday night we need to do Doomsday 2. I mean, I think that what we've just uncovered today is not only the major events coming in on us, but the things that are crawling out of the earth and how they're tied with the Bible. And I think maybe you may have more you could share. Can we just pick up this subject again when we come?
Sure, we can. There's a lot more, and it's more practical, spiritual, of course, but practical and closer to home than people think.
So we'll touch this. We'll do Doomsday 2. We'll do that again.
Yeah, we can. We can.
All right, Mike. Thank you so much for being here. It's really shockingly revealing, but then again, it makes my mind spin and think of things in the Bible and think, wait a minute, maybe that's what that meant. Maybe that's what that was trying to say. I'll be digging this week.
Well, Pastor Paul, is always an honor. God bless you, brother.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to be with us. God bless you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Bye-bye. Mike from Underworld, folks. Yeah. I mean, this is one of the most revealing shows I think we've ever done. What? We got a date? January 23rd, January 5th, 2023. We got some kind of weird lobsters that hang out in 600-degree water. We got slimy albino gooey things. We got Leviathan's cousin. We got Sasquatch. Man, it makes Sasquatch look like a puppy. I mean, we got incoming. Can I say something to you out there watching? Have you took time out to ask yourself a very serious question? Where is your soul? Is it in God's hands? Have you given it to Him? Or are you still packing that thing around thinking you're going to survive this? Jesus is waiting for you right now. Let's get saved. Let's get born again. Let's get the blood of Christ over our soul. Let's get saved. Let's put all the fear behind us. Come on, let's do it. Right now, right now, right now. Let's put all the fear behind. Turn it over to Jesus. There's 9,000 people that are live with us. Come on, let's do it now.